Hi and welcome to today's blog post. I thought for a change I'd do this by video instead of by writing. My name is Abby Elshaw and this is my site called A Heart Untroubled. So I hope you'll enjoy today's thought and we'll see how it goes. Today I want to pick on a verse in Colossians. It's in Colossians chapter 3 and verse 15. I'm going to be reading from the Passion Translation. This is very new for me. I'm normally a King James girl, but sometimes I think we can become so familiar with something that we can miss bits because we're familiar with it. So I've decided for a change I'm going to read through the New Testament in this new translation for me and just see what God shows me that I might have missed by always reading the same thing over and over. So I'm going to read this from the Passion Translation. That's Colossians 3 and verse 15, and it says, "Let your heart be always guided by the peace of the Anointed One, who called you to peace as part of his one body, and always be thankful." Now, over the last few months that I've been doing my blog, I've spoken a lot about gratitude. I believe it's really important as believers that we have a grateful heart and a thankful heart. But today I want to focus on the first part of this verse, which says, Let your heart be always guided by the peace of the Anointed One. A lot of people ask me, how do you know if God is leading you to do something or not do it, or you're making a decision, how do you know whether it's A or B you should take? And the Bible says that my sheep hear my voice. That is true, and I believe that as Christians we can hear God's voice. He's not a God of guessing games. He wants to speak to us clearly, and he wants for us to hear and understand. So God's plan is to speak with us, but sometimes we either doubt that we hear his voice or we just don't recognize it. Maybe we're new in the faith, or we're just inexperienced at learning to listen for God's voice. And God is so gracious to us that he gives us other tools that we can use to hear his voice, or to know that how he's guiding us. And this is one of them, and it's a really exciting verse for me. Again, I'm going to read that first part. It says, "Let your heart be always guided by the peace of the Anointed One." You know, the King James Version actually says, "Let the peace of God rule in your heart." And it has the connotation of being an umpire in a sports game, where he would call out, and he's the one that makes the decisions on the play. The peace of God is meant to be like an umpire in our hearts, so that when we have a decision that we have to make, it's his call as to which way we go. And what's really good here is it's about peace. So if something is, let's say you've got to decide whether to do something or not, and take a new job maybe. That's a practical example. You've been offered a new job and you're deciding whether you should take it or not. Well, the Bible says let that peace decide. If you don't have peace about doing it, then don't do it. It's really straightforward. There have been multiple times in my life where I've not felt peaceful about something, but I can't reason it out with natural things, and so I just go ahead and do it, and it's always ended badly in some shape or form for me, because I should have listened, I should have followed that peace, and as it says, let it be my guide as to whether I did that thing or not. And so I really want to encourage you today, if you have decisions to make or actions that you're considering taking or not, then let that peace of God rule in your heart. Don't be swayed by what you think, how you can logically work it out. Something may seem really good on the outside, but if you don't have peace about it, then you need to take time to consider what God is showing you. Anything, whether it's the person you're marrying, whether it's a job offer, whether it's going into business with somebody, all of those kind of decisions, and anything else really. God knows the beginning from the end. He knows what's best for you. And if you allow him to give you wisdom in those situations, he'll direct you to the right things, the fruitful things. And, I can't say life will be a bed of roses, but it's far less stressful when we do things God's way. So we avoid a lot of trouble if we'll allow him to direct our paths. And so this is one of the great ways that we can do that, is by allowing that peace to be our guiding light, if you like. The peace of God that just is beyond understanding. That's what the Bible says about peace. It passes understanding. So it's not based on external circumstances, or it's not based on anything you can reason with your senses, but it is based on God's leading. And I encourage you to listen for that, or look for that leading when you're making decisions. It will really help you to avoid some of the pitfalls and traps that Satan has lined up for us. So that's my thought for today. Let the peace of God guide you in every shape and way possible. Let it always be that peace that you follow after. That's the thought for today. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.